You can do what you need to do. You're doing administrative task. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Wes, anything on the agenda?
No agenda amendments, although I did want to just point out the quarterly department head reports and the consent agenda. We did change that from the monthlies to the quarterlies, and the staff are here to present when you get to that agenda item as part of that consent item. Other than that, nothing to report.
We'll do that.
That's honest.
Dave usually stops me when I get rolling too fast.
Roll call. Mayor Smith?
Present.
Alder Billiard? Present. Alder Hill?
Present.
Alder King?
Present.
Alder Lancaster? Present. Alder Matheson? Alder Wilson? Thank you. Mayor, we have tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Okay, they were just going to discuss. So,
Do you want that done, Lester?
the presentation section?
Okay, so then, yes, he is asking you to take the quarterly department head
During the consent agenda?
reports are going to be during the consent agenda, but they will present prior to citizen input.
All right, perfect.
So if people have questions.
And actually, if we could, we've got the ag team here.
You want to
They
do
can
that
maybe
first?
present first, and that way they don't have to.
Before
So
the
then-
department heads?
Yeah, so then
Unless they don't
after
want, unless you guys want
5A,
to sit there and go.
5B will be presentation of quarterly reports.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda with the adjustments made.
Second.
I have a first, I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. Or the agenda's passed.
So Wes, you want to go ahead, you want to move 5A to now then?
Yeah, let's,
So let the high school kids come up and do their presentation?
So I don't know, I've just introduced them a little bit. My name's Dana Kimmons. I'm one of the ag teachers at the high school. And one of our contests in the spring is ag issues. So they are to pick an issue that agriculturalists in the area are dealing with and just present both sides. They're not to come to any conclusion. They're not trying to tell you the people they're presenting to vote for, vote yes. They're just, here's the pros, here's the cons, and leave it at that. Part of the contest is to do public forums and to present practice basically in front of people. So thank you very much for allowing them to do this. We didn't really bring our props or anything with us, but I guess if you guys want to just go off to the side. So, and we have basically freshmen, sophomore, 2 juniors, and a senior in this group, so it's a pretty diverse group.
So would you start? All right. Hello everyone, I'll be with you in a minute.
Hey, I was wondering if I should use the EID tax or the traditional tax, because I'm a new farmer to the cattle industry and I'm not sure which one.
Well, in my opinion,
Well, ma'am, the better option is the EID tax. They're more efficient, way better, and a better alternative to the old-timey traditional tax.
excuse me, sir, but I really should be speaking with me. It takes someone with lots of experience. The traditional ear tags are way easier to use and much better for your operation.
You know, he's got a point. The new EID tags are the up-and-coming technology, and we've been using them on the farm, and they've been working great.
I just think that
Whoa, everyone. I understand there are a lot of questions currently surrounding the official electronic identification. So let's go over the pros and cons of this, and we'll be able to answer all your questions. Let's first start by introducing ourselves. My name is Liam Cohen. I'm the manager of the store.
Hello, I am Mr. Shell, and I'm your representative of All Flax Livestock Intelligence. Our company's goal is to be the leader of manufacturing, development, and making new identification systems with the EID tags. Our goal is to be able to track and maintain our cattle and other animals and make sure to grow and prosper in our agriculture.
My name's Elena, and I've been the veterinarian in this town for years. You have trusted me during calving season and any time you have a question regarding the health and safety of your livestock. Trust me when I say that these EID tags are a game changer for our industry.
Hi, I'm Addie. I'm a young farmer new to the cattle industry. I'm against the electronic ear tags because the cost for one small cattle farmer is absolutely ridiculous.
My name is Gavin, and I live and work on a ranch that's been in my family for over 150 years. And for the past 150 years, we have never utilized the agriculture technology that continues to upgrade and change daily. And frankly, being forced to change a system that works is insulting.
Well, Gavin, as a generational farmer, why is it that you haven't already changed over from the electronic ear tags?
Because we stick to tradition, our Wi-Fi is not the best. And without the Wi-Fi, I fear that it will be very difficult to transfer the information from the tags to the readers for them to be able to get to my bed.
Well, sir, the issue with that is you don't need the internet for the EID tags. For the EID tag scanners, you don't need the internet at all to access the information in the scanners. It's a simple process. And even if you don't have access to an EID tag scanner while you're out your pasture, you can use your phone and use an app to get the information you need. And you can even call up your local veterinarians or your state office for them to access those records for you if you need them at the time.
What if the ID reader breaks and I have to spend more money to buy a new one? The EID tags are like $60 for like 20 tags, and the ID readers being like $600 to $1,000. How am I going to be able to afford that?
I understand your concern, and cost is a huge factor in our industry. But what's going to be more cost effective? Investing in the new technology or having to shut down your operations completely in the event of an outbreak? These tags are changing the game when it comes to disease traceability and being able to keep your production up and running in the event of a disease outbreak.
Well, if you are like us and you purchase from reliable breeders, you will, and then you can trust their word, understand that they have been vaccinated and have all their shots, then you won't have to worry about an outbreak happening.
Well, with the EID tags, we don't need reliable breeders anymore. With the product identification codes that go along with the EID tags, you're able to access all the information you need, vaccines, medical records, where they've been, everything. You don't need to trust a reliable breeder when everyone is going to be a reliable breeder with the product identification codes. It's a new system that's going to work and is a lot better.
With all this new technology, I don't know if I can be able to understand or have all of it on my farm when I'm trying to operate it.
Well, ma'am, the system isn't complex. It isn't a huge algorithm. It's basically like the press of a button. Once you access the information with the EID scanners or go into the Excel document you have all your information on, you at a press of a button and using whatever code you need for whatever cattle, you can go to the information wherever it is. It isn't a huge, super complicated system. It is fundamentally the press of a button. It's simple as that.
So even talk about simple, I think it is way more simple, much more simple to be able to look out across my pasture and see the traditional bright and big tag on the side of the cow's ear and be able to write down all their information in my record books. So it is easy and accessible for my vet.
And you're not wrong. The large tags that we've been using for generations are significantly easier to see. But just because new technology is here doesn't mean the traditional way is gone. However, these new EID tags are a huge game changer. Not only can I, as a veterinarian, get them for you for a reduced cost or even for free, but this is going to make my job easier in sharing information with regional vets, state officials, or even federal health officials to make sure that I'm helping you to keep your cattle safe. Also, this new technology is allowing us to record data accurately and effectively, rather than having to search through years of handwritten records, whether it be non-legible handwriting or just everyone's shorthand is different. This way, we're all sharing data the same way and can be easily accessed by anyone who needs it.
I think the EID tags are right in my way as a cow farmer because where is all that information going? I don't know exactly where it's going to the state or at a national level, and I'm just not sure if I want to use it.
Now that we've heard from both sides of the argument, from the pros and the cons, where the cons talked about how the cost is a lot more than what they can spend, and how it's much simpler with his traditional way, how he can look across the field and write down information quickly. We also heard from the pros, who they talked about traceability and how you can track the diseases through animals much easier. They also talked about the communication side of things and how you can communicate and spread that information out much quicker and simpler. Now that you've heard both sides, which one would you like?
So we don't have any questions.
Yeah, how does your tag know if a calf is sick?
So these tags work by a reported incident. So right now in the United States, specifically on our southern border, we're dealing a lot with New World screwworms. And when a vet is checking these animals, they can log that that animal has contracted that parasite, that disease. And then any cattle that have been within that area, their owners are notified due to the exposure.
It works great for the entity that wants to do the right thing. What about the entity or the farmer that is kind of on the edge and maybe doesn't want to track their animals?
Well, for that, it isn't just tracking them. It's just an easier way of holding your records that you would have already had during paper, like health records, where you got them from. It's just an easier storage system that has better access for health individuals and the farmers themselves, especially if they are doing trading or they need to get checked.
Is this something that's going to be rolled out and mandatory eventually?
For the EID tags, they are already mandatory for going across state lines, but in other countries, like in the UK, they are already requiring like a full passport for whenever you trade, and that if the United States follow along these lines, we'd open ourselves up to more trade in other areas across the world because they prefer that type of identification compared to what we don't have already, what we don't have.
Why would a vet have interest in supplying the EIDs at a reduced or even cost-free?
So veterinarians have partnered with the Missouri Department of Agriculture, and the State Department is actually fully funding and giving these to our veterinarians to overall help the biosecurity practices and traceability within our agriculture systems. So a lot of it is trying to build trust within the industries between our state and federal level and our local farmers.
And that brings me to another question. If I were a cattle rancher, that it is now hitting that state and federal, tracking what I have and taxing me for it.
I don't believe that that would be a huge concern because unless you are being untruthful with what you own on your tax forms already, this tags are not exposing anything that already wouldn't be transparent.
Right.
These tags would solely be beneficial to the producer because in the event of a disease outbreak, they would be notified if there was an exposed animal within a proximity of their livestock that could impact their production.
Good comeback on that one.
Very good.
Is that all? Well, thank you guys very much. You guys did a wonderful job. You're all future politicians. Politicians and salesmen.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go with an oversight.
Yeah.
Run, people, run.
Sometimes you never tell me what to do. You should tell me now. So it's kind of ironic sitting in this chair, doesn't it?
I'm from the and I'm here to help.
Yeah, exactly.
Move it down. He's been contagious this week.
All right, Wes,
Yes.
Wes, you want to start with the department heads thing?
Yeah, let's do that.
Did they choose out of a hat who gets to go first
No,
so they get out of here early?
Trevor's looking very excited. Let's
Oh,
start.
wow.
My assistant just left.
He got them done.
He's coming right back.
Okay.
Tom, you want to kick us off? Sure. Tom will also have the flock report information. We talked about doing quarterly reports for flock, so that's part of his report as well.
Well, and you guys have that, so I wanted to hit on just a few highlights that would reflect the major work that we've done in the first quarter. And we're counting our quarter as December through February. So you guys probably know that we solved a first-degree murder that occurred within a stone's throw from the Willard Police Department. That work was largely done by Sergeant Steve Purdy. You probably don't know that the federal penitentiary let out a guy that he hadn't been home 1 week, and he pistol whipped his wife and just tore up the town. Springfield, but by the time we got the call, he was outside our jurisdiction and inside Springfield. We called him up, and dang if they weren't able to catch him at a McDonald's with all the goods in his hands. So he's already back in the penitentiary. Thank God. Corporal Mark Cole, who's been with us since December of 2020, has recently graduated from the Reed Interview Interrogation School. Did you ever go to that school? I did. You loved it. It was one of your favorites. You found it to be very practical. Okay, all right. Loving the affirmation. Thank you. So retention. We haven't lost an officer since, it's been 2 years ago. And so that incredible retention has been realized in no small part thanks to this board, I believe, that you guys followed the recommendation in terms of some ideas like take-home cars, like getting the salary up to a competitive rate. You guys put me on a path that I wasn't comfortable in it, but you agreed that we needed to get a competitive rate, but you felt like we needed to do that as a result of an additional tax. I didn't think it would pass. I did work my hardest and did my best, and I was very surprised to see it pass like it did. And because of that, in that first quarter of this counting period, we received those pay raises that were promised, and we thank you for that very much. That goes a long way, I think, toward retention. The security door has been installed. We graduated our very first class from the DARE after-school program, which is new, and I think that we're going to be able to build on it. It will be very strong, and those are the highlights from the first quarter. I just want to project ahead just a little bit. In March, April, May. In March, Assistant Chief Shannon Shipley will graduate from the Missouri Command College. She's the first officer from our agency to have attended that class, and we're very proud of her for that achievement. Corporal Cole and Corporal Steen have shown excellent interest in the area of investigations and follow-up and that type of thing, and so we're sending both those officers to MCI school, which you probably are familiar with. Did you have to go to that? Yeah. And you loved it. Okay.
Yes, I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually really good. This is still a 2-week school?
Well, they've broken it into two 1-week blocks. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that is a good school.
Yeah. And the school district affirmed today that on May 13th at 0900 hours, they'll be dropping off 100 kids to the Camp Character project. I went out there yesterday with Corporal Mark Cole, and we did some mowing and some spraying and did some work to get the thing up and running and ready to go. There'll be quite a bit of work that we will need to do yet, but I'm happy to report that we've got a rock solid partnership with our district in that regard, and I'm thankful for that. We had a department meeting last week. Those are some projections. I have listed some specific, if you want to hear them, some specific, I'd be happy to go sit down, flock results that I feel like are worthy of mention. So we had an LSOA of a U-Haul truck at True Value. One of the witnesses in the case got a plate. We ran it through flock. We found it. The fellow was arrested for LSOA and fined and adjudicated through this fine court. Question?
She asked what LSOA was.
Can you tell us?
I'm sorry, leaving the scene of an accident.
Hit and run. So 25, a clerk reported that a customer came in, was extremely inebriated, and she initially believed that they were a passenger in a vehicle and wasn't overly concerned until she saw her get in the car and drive off, clipping a little trash can as she left. We were able to clear that up and make that case, and that is yet to be adjudicated. There was a vehicle accident at US 160 in Miller. This accident in its entirety was captured on our live camera. That is great. Do you know what it's like to be a police officer? You roll up to the scene. There's no witnesses, but you've got two opposing accounts of what happened, and you know it's tough. You're expected to cite the person that was the primary reason for the accident. When you've got them captured, the whole thing on a live video, it kind of takes the mystery out of it. So we were able to resolve that. Mayor, I mentioned to you earlier that a young lady was driving, I was mistaken, it wasn't her dad's pickup truck, it was her mom's shiny new pickup truck. And she went into the roundabout at 160 eastbound. She was in the inside lane, wasn't doing anything wrong. There was a tractor trailer that went in at about the same time. Apparently she was in the tractor trailer's blind eye, and he edged over into her lane, knocked her mirror off, scuffed up the side of her truck, and he continued on. We were able to identify that fella. It was our understanding after visiting with him that he was not aware of that accident, but he took full responsibility for it. So we solved that. Flock solved the case, and the list goes on and on. And I mean, I sense I'm read the room. I feel like I don't probably need to read too many more of these. But my assessment of the flock system is it's a godsend. It is so helpful. I did the audit and didn't find anybody outside the boundaries of what they ought to be doing. We still are not 100% up and running. There were some rock. It turns out the Willard area is sitting upon some pretty dense rock, and so some of the original sites that were indicated as best possible site had to be, well, they couldn't do it there because of the rock. So we're still, there's two more that are still in the finalization area. Are there any questions for me?
Can you tell me which ones are live or have to live feed? Because I was thinking that they were all plates, just able to read.
Okay, so our major intersections have live cameras, so they're recording. So
Like AB and 160.
AB and 160, Miller and
160.
Hunt, and 94.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so for us, when there's an accident at those locations, it's like, no problem. We've got it. I can't see where, I think if the police department was running roughshod over the rights of the citizens, then I guess you guys could make a case for being able to abuse something like this. But for us, I find that it's a very, very helpful system. I know this first year we have benefited to a great degree by the Blue Shield funding, to the extent I think that we only were out $2,500 for this year's use. Next year now, we'll have to decide what we're going to do with, will we do the same funding? And by the way, we are designated as a Blue Shield city again this year. So the funding, the state of Missouri is not being real absolute like they were last year with the funding, because they said that the pot's probably going to be about the same size, and there's more agencies that are designated Blue Shield cities now. So we'll have to talk about that in the months ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry?
Okay, the December through February court highlights, we had, and you have it right in front of you, we had 165 new citations filed by the prosecuting attorney. We had 154 total guilty pleas, 1 bench trial, 31 cases were dismissed by the prosecuting attorney. We issued 87 failure to appear warrants, and we had 78 warrants either served by the police department or police department from other cities as well, or sometimes they're withdrawn. They come in and pay their bond, we withdraw it, or sometimes they'll come to court and the judge will show leniency on them and recall their warrants. Our twice monthly docket average is 157 cases. Our average court attendance was 60 to 65%, which the state average is 40%. So we're doing well there. We're doing something well. We did go and review and shred all financial records dating back more than 5 years. We had some going back, I think, to the 90s. So we did get that all done. We are required to keep them for 5 years. So we're up to date on that. Joe and I attended OSCA training. We had a new PA, and then now we have another new PA. So we had one for about 3 court sessions, and now we will have another one. And that's about all. There is a report that has the financials with it as well. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Good deal.
Yeah, easy.
Thank you.
I did want to update you guys that there is legislation currently to reverse some of the Ferguson changes in addressing the failure to appear, and it is allowing for arrests for failures to appear. And I can send that out to everybody. That is legislation, it's on the MML tracking.
Also,
You have
to
the MML tracking.
suspend driver's licenses too. The judge can do that at his discretion, suspend their driver's
Which
license.
it's not been, so we haven't been due, we issue warrants, but the presumption currently, and a lot of this comes out of the shooting of the deputies, the presumption is that you are released on your own recognizance, no matter what you have been arrested for. And so part of it is that, and part of it is we see a big buildup of these cases, and there's no real ability for the court to make people come in because they just have the warrant set aside.
Trevor, you ready?
I'm ready. It's gonna be a triple duo.
Triple threat.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 4 of us.
Yeah, that's not good.
Do you need some dry ice? Is there a performance?
There is a
I mean, that kid's kind of set the
No,
stage.
it's not gonna be that good.
Hello. Super stoked to be here and being able to talk to you guys. So thank you for your time. I just really had a couple of things, only about 3 of them I really wanted to touch base on. You have my report before you, I'm sure. But so far this year, we've hit up 357 locates. My guys have been at that work, I'm gonna tell you that right now. They've completed jetting of 2,400 feet and canned over 2,000 feet of our gravity sewer line. The first thing I'd like to bring to your attention is what we've done in the matter of I&I. We've replaced 1 sewer cap, we've sealed 3 cracks in manholes, and at the writing of this, we had raised 4 manholes. Now we're up to like 8, so it doesn't qualify for this part of it though. I really hope to, or I expect to reduce I&I by 100,000 gallons. I mean, it's a guess. I won't know until the bills come in. So. Next thing, super cool, excuse me, is we got smoke testing planned. That's going to come up in the about July to August timeframe. It'll be mostly focused in the beef collection basin. And for my third matter of what we've done is we've been inspecting manholes, and quite to my astonishment and somewhat my alarm, we've encountered, we're up to 3 now. I know your form says 2. We just found a 3rd one today, day before yesterday, no, last Friday. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. They're up to 3, and I've got pictures of one of them. I just don't have them on here. But man, they're bad. It's all laid out with H2S damage around the base and various other concrete structures inside the manhole. Something else that I've been mulling over with Trevor over here and Shane is I really would like to try to get more I&I stuff accomplished, low-hanging fruit, see about, if there's sump pumps hooked up into sewers or, downspouts, for example. And our smoke testing will help us figure out quite a bit of that. But for sump pumps, it's a little bit harder to do, mostly because they all have a check valve in them. And that check valve prevents my smoke from coming out other places. So what I was hoping to do was maybe write up a letter and get citizen involvement going. Send it out. We've done this before and it had great results. Let me tell you, when we were doing our lead and copper survey, we sent out a letter. The citizens, the residents of the town, they were more than happy to have us come out there, take a look, see what we have. The knowledge was what was selling it for them. Let us see what's going on, let us give you some ideas, and maybe we can then, come and, make a plan for getting it fixed. But unless I know what's there and what problems we have, I can't really come up with a good plan. Yeah, I was going to talk about some other stuff, but I forgot about all of that. Shocker. Can I answer any questions we got?
When are you gonna smoke?
So we're planning on doing the smoke testing in the July to August timeframe. We have this like liquid smoke stuff that we put on, it's basically a big fan that blows down into a sewer. And then we can, once we get that started, it's super dry outside, which is why we're shooting for it. We can see the smoke actually come up through, breaks, cracks, other defects in the pipe. And it's not going to pinpoint it for us. now, and sometimes it will, but if it's in a yard, it's going to come up through whatever cracks are there. But it'll at least let us know that there is a
In that
problem.
area.
Yeah, it'll give us a better area so that we can go and, camera and, well, more over jet within camera and see what's going on inside.
It'll also let you know if downspouts are pouring into your.
Yes, sir, because, but before we do that, we want to make sure that residents are aware, fire department's aware, everybody knows that it's not.
Casey.
It wasn't me. I bought it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Bill,
We fixed it.
She knew she's off the list.
We fixed it. Trevor took me off the list.
Green now. All right, thanks, Jack. Thank you. Next.
All right. Go over some water stuff. I'm not gonna go over everything we did, but we got 9 leaks that we found. Most of them were, I think 2 or 3 were reported by residents, and the rest our guys found. And then on all of our projects that we did, some of them were leaks that were found, and then we went back and upgraded the line, which was the AB 6-inch. We found a leak. Was that a leak? Yeah, that was a leak. The one across church.
Oh, yeah.
It was at first a leak, and we went back after we had the right parts and shut it down and repaired it permanently. And right now we're focusing on fire hydrant maintenance. We're waiting on hydrants. They're supposed to be here Wednesday.
Yeah.
We started off in Meadow subdivision. There was 3 out of service. And right now every hydrant in Meadow subdivision is working. We're waiting on parts and fire hydrants mainly. And I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so what I was gonna talk about, is I'm sure you guys see on the Facebook page how we're always shutting lines down and everything. A lot of that is planned, but some of it can't be, and this was kind of what I was gonna show. So that's a shut-off valve, that little brass piece that's in the top. And, yeah, it was, yeah. And so there's galvanized nipples that go between the plastic and that shut-off valve. So we've got 900 more of these out in the system. And this picture here will kind of show it a little better. This is actually another one that we dealt with the same day as that one prior to that. And I had a piece to bring in to actually show you guys to let you see it. But so this is what, a lot of times you can't fix this live. A lot of times. Sometimes you can, depending on the pressure. Sometimes we can open fire hydrants and let it down. But I just kind of wanted to let you guys see that, we don't want to shut it down, but this kind of makes us have to. But someday all of these are going to start popping. And I mean, they've already started, but there's going to come a time where it's like, hey, we have to just make a plan to get rid of all of them, preventatively. So there's that, plus the fire hydrants. We focused really hard last year on main replacement, mainly galvanized main replacement. This year, since we've got most of the problem areas, the big problem areas fixed, this year I've told the guys we want to put all of our infrastructure money into fire hydrants, because there's too many out there that have gone way too long. And actually, since I've worked here, there's never been a time that all the fire hydrants in Meadow subdivision work. So I mean, that's kind of a big deal,
Does that affect the ISO rating?
Not necessarily, because they're there. Now, if you start pulling them out, I mean, they have out of service tags on them, they'll know, but it's whenever you pull them out, you don't put them back in, that it will
They
affect
literally
ISO.
are just counting hydrants for the
It's
ISO.
literally just counting, yeah.
Of course though.
Yeah, so,
They don't have to work, they just.
yeah, they just gotta be there, yeah, so.
I felt like that was probably the issue, that's why.
Yeah, no, that is a good question though. I mean, so we don't wanna get to that point,
Right.
so we're focusing pretty hard now. $3,700 a hydrant, we can only do so much. That's why we're trying to rebuild what we can, and I'm like, we'll take 3 old hydrants and we're trying to piece together one.
And we're pulling them from some places where they're not needed.
Yeah, There was one, I don't know if any of the aldermen heard about it, but there was one where a customer was pretty mad that we pulled a hydrant, that was where a fire hydrant or a fire truck couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
We smoothed everything over, we're all good. He has another hydrant right behind his house, but we're just moving that hydrant to where it can be accessed by a fire truck on the road and everything like that, so.
We pulled one on Barwick that was.
Two hydrants right next to each other,
Yeah.
why, it made no sense,
Yeah.
you know, one was dead, so. That's what we're really focused on, fire hydrants, get all of them tip-top shape. Once all the hydrants are good, then we're gonna focus more on the valves for them, cause there's like, probably 250 hydrants out there that don't have a mainline valve on it, so if you wanna work on it, you're shutting the whole line down, and that's why a lot of times I'll also see on Facebook, hey, your water's gonna be off here for 12 hours for just regular maintenance. So there is gonna be more of that. If citizens start saying, why is there just leaks all the time? I mean, there are some, yeah, but a lot of time it's because we're just doing routine maintenance. You know,
And we're not trying to inconvenience anyone, like, example, we did a valve cluster on Old Barwick, and we shut it down, and then we're gonna have to go back in again tomorrow and shut it down. Just cause it's the stuff they put in, what, in the 60s, 70s?
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
the way they did it is just, it's goofy.
It doesn't make any
It doesn't make any
sense.
sense.
Ever.
So we're trying to go, and we can't do it all at once, so we gotta go back in again. I know it's inconvenient, but it's just the,
It was
the
70
nature.
years ago, I
Yeah.
feel like.
Whenever we're doing planned maintenance, how are we notifying those affected? How often are,
We'll do a robocall and we'll put it on the Facebook page.
how far in advance?
well, and I'll try to do
If
it.
it's planned.
Yeah, I'll try to do it if we know we're gonna get in there and do it, like the hydrants, we get plenty of notice. Now, like Barwick, I don't have time we wanna get back in there and just get it done. Otherwise, we'll put it on the back burner and, you know, we won't forget about it, but.
Generally what happens is they notify in advance of a project, but they don't notify coming back. You know,
Yeah.
they'll just put it back on Facebook saying, hey, we're
Yeah.
continuing the project, it should be completed at this time, but they don't do 2 weeks notification each time, it's just, we're continuing, it should be completed at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a work in progress, but we have made really good progress this year already, you know, so it's coming together. You know, I think that's probably all for water, can't think of it, unless anybody has any questions, anything else we're working on.
Oh, I do.
Here, I'll try.
Are we as City of Willard, I know in the City of Springfield, is it, Mike, 2 to 3 years, all 3/4 to 1 inch galvanized mains from the water to the house have to be replaced?
So typically, state law is about 1%, 1 to 3% a year as we're trying to cycle through the.
Yeah, 2% is what you wanna hit on main replacement.
Yeah.
Now, I think what you're talking about though is.
From meter to the house?
That's galvanized requiring replacement, so that was part of that lead and copper survey we did.
Yeah.
And if there was ever lead that was in contact somewhere upstream or downstream of a galvanized line in a certain year, then it has to be replaced, because I guess that galvanized is real porous in a certain year. Is that right, Holly? Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of a different thing. Now, luckily, we didn't find any lead during our survey we did, but, you know,
Do you
that's.
wanna maybe mention
Well, I don't know if we wanna mention that yet. Not till we find more, I mean, I will, but it's.
Hey, Trevor, we may have some legal recourse on that too, so.
Yeah. So do or don't?
Well, I'm confused. We may have some legal recourse.
Let's
If they're not willing to
throw the
pay more.
preliminary out there, and then that way the board's aware of it.
So the preliminary is, Wes got a letter from DNR last week, and we called DNR and talked to them about it. What it is if there was any unknowns or a lead known in your system, you had to send them a letter to say, hey, we either don't know what you have or you have lead. Well, we had completed the survey for the entire city, we knew everything what it was. Somehow one got missed, whether it was a scroll, somebody put unknown on it, or maybe we just didn't see it.
One out of how many?
So it was one question out of 67,000 questions is what we missed.
Wow.
And they sent us a letter, instead of just picking up the phone and saying, hey, obviously it was a mistake, can you guys, so they said, we have to give a tier 3 notification, which goes out on our CCR report to say, we got a violation, we did notify this customer that we didn't know what their service was. Now, we went out and checked it, it's copper, so it's fine, there's still no lead. But yeah, DNR sent in a happy letter and
But
said.
it's a typographical error and
Yeah.
clerical in nature.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to present as a defense back to MDNR for reconsideration. It is not a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
It is a typographical / clerical error.
So every other question, because each house has 18 questions on it, plus we had to do every fire suppression system throughout the system, which I later found out on Friday that we actually didn't have to do that. Whenever DNR told me prior, we did have to do that. He also told me with Wes in there that we didn't have to do vacant pits whenever they told us prior we did. Anyways, neither here nor there. So, yeah, each one has 18 questions. We did all 17 other questions on there. We missed that one. It's a mistake, it sucks, but.
We just wanted to kind of throw it out there so it's aware, you know.
That if it does come
Customers
out,
do end up getting a violation notice.
there's no
and stuff, 'cause
lead.
There's a bunch of lead in the
Yeah.
system, it's,
the water
we
still,
didn't check a box,
you know,
and
still okay.
it's
So,
all good.
yeah,
Hopefully we'll get it resolved, but preliminary, that's kind of what we're at.
yeah. But good stuff. It's always good when you get a letter from them. And then streets is last, and I don't know anything about streets, so shame to do that. Matt's not here, he had a baby last week, so.
So he says, I think he's fishing.
Do what? He did, yeah, Matt had it, yeah. Medical mystery.
When they're not cleaning up behind me, he's got quite a bit of workload on. He's currently working on this driveway here and sidewalk next to the community building. In and out, he's working on Southview, he's trying, what else does he got going on?
I can jump in here for you.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
Because I lean on the streets and public works as a whole a lot. So I don't know if you've noticed City Hall, there have been some big changes here. Public Works has been right in the middle of this. They've been spearheading construction and destruction and paints and repainting. They've got a great sidewalk plan and a one-way road that's gonna be connecting parking lots, and they've got a new arrangement for parking at the building here. Not only that, they've spearheaded getting the pool back up and running and productive, where we were having some real safety issues getting a pool pump out of the pit safely without crushing and killing people. And they came up and totally handled it.
Crushed it.
Safe, literally crushed it, all right, safe. Literally, so they have been on the front lines and literally most of the projects going on. So, just hats off to Public Works and everything that they can do, and everything that they are doing. It's just been so much easier. Oh, yeah, I hadn't given my report yet. So, they've just been, like I said, they're the front lines right now, and it's greatly appreciated. So,
He's got about 6, 7 sidewalks that he's just found on his own.
Yeah.
They found on their own that they've replaced. So, plus that we've had leaks on. But, can we go over his projects or not?
I don't think we need to.
No.
You guys should have all the reports, I think.
Just on that.
Public Works is not sitting still. No, so.
And the streets, we kinda move streets around, kinda like streets guys did all this in here, you know. They kinda get shuffled around everywhere, kinda here or there, you know, where we can.
Which,
Yeah, depending on the weather, I mean.
you see him in Southview, you might see him in there 2 days in a row, and then you won't be back in there for a week or two, because he's just, we'll pull him over on water to do something, or
Yeah,
sewer, wherever he's needed.
yeah, all the streets guys have been super helpful, and they've picked up a lot of slack, so pretty happy with them.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you for everything you do.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, that's next.
I found the sidewalk.
That's like expecting it.
Gina, since you're talking, you wanna do yours?
I've been
I don't know, you
making
can't really hear me today,
Much
actually.
better.
You guys just have it. Yes.
We can share it. We're one team, we share everything.
Last
And
July.
it runs the length of it, south to Ninth Street. You just clear it all out. This guy in Coffeyville, Kansas.
Oh, yeah,
He
those
does
guys,
that.
yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm just grabbing my water, moving it out. They're there.
They're gorgeous.
They're just overgrown.
You can't
Steel red brick.
recreate
Don't look it up. Why?
You're fine.
Is Gina gonna claim that she can't talk or something?
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
she's working the angles right
I
now.
am.
Claim some kind of disability?
I did give you guys,
Workers' compensation here.
I did talk about the nice report, but
That's why
I am trying to clean out my city hall.
Are we looking for somebody here?
First hand.
Huh?
All right, Gina's gonna get started.
Right now, we're trying to clean out City Hall, in case you can't tell.
Much
We've
more
done it.
spacious.
We have. So, we did some retention, and we do only have to keep documents for 5 years, which we found, like Terry said, 90s, 2000s, easily, all throughout here.
Tripping all over it.
So we have called the shredding company and had a lot of it shredded, gotten rid of a lot of it. All my people are now putting it on the servers, trying not to print as much as possible so that we don't have that here at City Hall anymore. State auditor has said they have done the exit interview with me. So as long as her bosses that she gives a report for does not have any questions, we're done. But the report writing process takes a while because she writes it, she gives it to her boss, he passes it to her boss, all the legal, all that good jazz. But they have gotten everything they need from us as a city, unless someone above her has questions. Our local audit has started. I've given them everything they needed. I've answered some questions, but they said they should have a report to us within a month. They thought everything was easy, they had everything they needed right away, so as long as nothing comes up, we should be okay there. I think that's all I really have right now. I'm trying to clean up accounts, so when you're looking at our financials that I give you every month, I'm open to input on how to make it look cleaner for you guys to understand it better. So I'm trying to close some accounts so that we can, because right now it's just too much. You look at it and you're sitting there going, what is this? So we're in the middle of trying to combine some accounts and collapse some stuff. So if you see something that you might say, what is this for? Or this is the same as that, please let me know so that I can try to clean up some of that. Because I'm trying to make it easier for you guys to read it. I can read it, but I don't like it, but I can read it. That's it for finance department, unless anybody has any questions. You guys get my reports monthly, so.
Alright, Mike?
My department doesn't do anything.
Nope.
So,
Still waiting for some action.
I know.
If I would have had a clock,
So, I hung a clock today.
Finally.
You have a list of things that are on your paper. I'm not gonna address any of those. We do have, we did go through 22 years of records and got rid of them, significantly lightening the attic load. That's the real reason Wes moved out of his office. He's afraid of collapse of records. So we did get that taken care of. Those are being organized electronically. We're on phase 2 of the Parks Electric upgrade for Freedom Fest. You may see Jackson Street Park is a little bit in disarray, but we're well ahead of the.
Like you have moles.
And we have some large mold problems that we're gonna be taking care of with,
You got them,
so.
Chevy Chase was out there chasing them.
I wish. That would've been a lot more
With one of
fun.
his new fire hydrants.
That would've been a lot more fun than seeing me on a track hoe, so. Active transportation plan has been tentatively recommended by the Board of, by the Planning Commission. The Board of Aldermen should see it next meeting with full public hearing. Buckle up, it is pretty detailed. Not only do they give us a plan, they went through our codes and recommended adjustments to our codes, so our codes align with our active transportation plan. And if things move as we're wanting to, we're looking at a full-blown general plan amendment next year. So that should tie everything together for the next 15 to 20. So that's the direction we're looking for. In all honesty, we've been making steady progress in a lot of different areas, between revising plats for Hoffman Hills. We've got some major sewer going currently, which is gonna help us, and we're right in the middle. We're hoping of a large string of annexations, so which will get us right where we need to be to take advantage of some development here in the future. So all kidding aside, we're busily moving. We're looking at rebranding, putting, Willard on the right path. So, any questions? And if you need me to hang a clock or paint a wall, I can do that too.
Didn't I see you in the bathroom the other day painting a wall?
Don't even talk to me about it. Yes.
I thought that was you.
Yeah. So,
That's why the lines are a little kind of.
if he wants to complain about that, I know where a paintbrush is.
Yep, that sounds familiar.
You've been demoing and taking out walls.
Yeah, and my own remodel's suffering. I get home and don't want to do anything, just doing it all day. So.
I can give you an update on parks if you want, or I can save it for my remarks. Nothing too crazy going on. It's maybe hard to imagine, but there's about a week and a half where I couldn't talk very well, so I haven't had to get into too much mischief. But I want to give props to the staff over there. They know what they're doing and they're doing it well. Since Jason left, it's been kind of ticking over pretty well. Emily and Brenda, very dedicated. They're very focused on what they're doing. I've been able to provide lots of input and guidance. Nothing crazy is going on. As Mike said, there's been opportunities to get out there and figure out stuff that's going on and see if we can help figure out a way to get it done. So that's been very useful. We had a Parks Board special meeting last week to meet the shortlisted candidates for the director position. Parks Board gave me some direction on those. The one that we were hoping for Thursday has not responded. So we'll work with the candidates that we have, and I scheduled a meeting with one of those candidates tomorrow afternoon to kind of have a little last minute chat and figure things out. We should have somebody ready to appoint fairly soon. Well, actually, it's a direct hire, and we'll be in a appointed position, so I hope to have that full soon. I had a chat with Emily and Brenda this morning about it. They feel very good about this election, so I think we're getting ready to move. We also have our new HR coordinator will start Monday. Not parks related, I know, but as an aside. So we're moving. Parks is moving. I think I'm pretty excited about what's coming up. We've got some restructuring ahead, looking for efficiencies. Still working on numbers, changing the world. I think it's going to be, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good outcome for the Parks Department.
Well, HR too, I think that'll take a lot off your plate.
Yeah.
Be doing some other
I might
things.
get marginal sanity back, but no promises.
Yeah. You get the
Miracles.
Goes with the job, right, Holly?
Miracles.
Hypocrite.
Yeah.
Once you get your team built, it'll be smoother sailing.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're in a good place, and then, if you look around, we've got the branding's going on, kind of segueing into my last bit, so I'll make it quicker, but Color Graphic is part of the Chamber of Commerce, and they've agreed to look and do some sign work so we can get all our signs consistent. And the price is not anywhere close to what I thought it was, so we might actually do it this year instead of next year. It's like $2,000 for signing almost all of our buildings, everything. So I'm kind of like, okay, I might snap your hand off on that. They're going to design them, and hopefully we'll have some designs soon to have a look at. And then that'll be kind of cohesive branding. We'll have a nice new city hall, and we're moving. We're moving. I think we'll look as we want to be perceived, and I think people will respond to that and see that the city is doing well. I'm excited. It's a good year. That's all I got. It's about as positive as I can end on that. On to citizen input, I believe.
Well, we need to go ahead and, because we never got a motion on the consent agenda, so
Yes,
let's get a motion for it.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda. I have a first, I have a second. Alder Billiard? Yes. Alder Hill?
Yes.
Alder Lancaster?
Yes.
Alder Matheson?
Yes.
The consent agenda is approved.
All right. Next item is citizen input. If there's anybody out there, including Steve, that would like to step forward and talk, feel free to come forward and let us know what your thoughts are.
Well, entertain us.
Thoughts? Going once, going twice. Having seen no reasonable reaction from Steve, we'll close this section. All right. Did the ag, so let's go to item 6, Meadows Water Tower status. You gonna paint it pretty?
Oh, well, bright pink.
Bright pink, all right.
That right there, the mug. Yeah.
With a tribal W, right?
Yep. So, I've got a couple different deals on here.
Belgian for neighbors.
This is, that's probably my pick right there if we were gonna do it. The dark gray, I think no matter what design we do, we should do the dark gray, just cause it's gonna hide a lot of that mold that kind of builds up, cause that's gonna happen regardless. I kinda like that dark gray, the flying W with the Willard. We're just trying to get your guys' input on it, so that way we don't do this and then we get 50 citizens on Facebook that said, I hate it, why did we do that, you know? So that was one of them. Or we got just the flying W by itself, you know, and I think that would be totally fine too. You know, cost-wise, there's not gonna be any cost difference really here, so it's kind of what you guys kind of prefer.
And as a note, this wouldn't be like a long term, this will be until we get to the point where we can blast it down.
Yeah.
This is a get me by pattern.
Yeah. And this one here was one that Wes's wife had kind of drawn up, and then we had thrown the flying W in the center of it, just to kind of add that to it, you know, in case, you know, just kind of show that flying W. I think no matter what, we ought to do the flying W.
We
just-
do the flying W.
Yeah.
Great.
And the school said that they're good with us using it, so.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
I
Yeah.
like the flying W with just the Willard.
Yeah.
That one, yeah. that
I was gonna
first
say
one.
that, I've been told I have no taste, so I wasn't gonna weigh in.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna weigh in.
I mean, it would be better if it was hot pink.
Well,
Just
and we can
saying.
do that. You know,
No,
we
but
can
I think
balance
we should
it
the
out.
compensation up a little
With
bit.
time and where more simplified, it is a better approach because you don't lose pieces. and-
Right.
It's not gonna flake off, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I think that has a very striking,
Mm.
It's like you're not trying too hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just Willard.
It's less future maintenance.
That, and there is that too, yeah, I mean, and like you said, we don't have to keep that, you know, 10 years down the road, this is gonna get a total blast and redone, so at that point, maybe we would then look at having, you know, like the school kids or something design something, and then we do a vote or something like that, but, or maybe we just keep that, you know, I don't know, it's kind of whatever the board's kind of feelings towards it are, but, yeah, that, like I said, that would be my pick, you know, one of them, if we're gonna do it, but I just kinda wanted to get your guys' opinions on it. And then I can send it to the tower designers, tell them this is the color we want, this is the design we want. Cause June, I've rented the machine, which will run the other well, which is Meadows 2 on a VFD. So that tower's gonna be down for 2 months. Cause it's gonna have a lot of work done to it. So, fingers crossed, we don't have any problems, cause that well is gonna be running constantly for 2 months. So, you know, we'll kind of see what happens, kind of gauge it from there, but
When is that?
that could be around June, is whenever this will all happen.
Nothing specific yet,
I was
but
like, that's like.
yeah, as soon as,
I know, and that's what I said,
as soon as we know when it is, we'll let everybody know, but yeah, It's
Yeah.
hot season.
And ideally, you know, people won't even notice, you know, but if,
Well, whether they do or not, they'll say it.
they'll say,
Ideally, they won't be affected.
yes, that is, wording is everything, yeah. So ideally, you know, that everything will be fine, but, there is a potential that, hey, if that pump blows up, you know, we're kinda in a bad spot. But before we ever even get started on this, I'll call Flynn Drilling, which is our well company, and I'll say, hey, do you have a pump on hand? Can you have a pump on hand for us, just in case, you know, it hits the fan, and there we go, but.
Contingency.
Yeah, the wells here, I've been told will feed there, but I'm not gonna rely on that 100%, cause I don't really believe that myself, but that's kinda where we're at with it, kinda the update on it, so. In case anybody's got any questions with her, we all good, so I can send the deal and say, alright, we love it, hot pink with the flying W.
Hot pink with the flying
Okay.
W.
Alright. We'll direct everybody to Casey when the citizens.
Put Casey's name up there.
Thanks, Jared.
Yeah. All right, sanitary sewer update, Steve? That's it.
Okay.
All you.
On the 94 force main replacement, Young's General Contracting's got a little over 800 feet of 18-inch high-density polyethylene pipes along north end of Low Weller Road in the ground. They've slowed progress the last couple of weeks on two accounts. One was acquiring some additional pipe handling equipment to reduce potential damage to the pipe as it's being fused and strung out. Second one is, yeah, we've had hot weather and we've had some cold weather. And there's a minimum temperature which you can fuse polyethylene. So those cold spells we had, they were not able to work. But other than that, things are moving along pretty good. On the finance on that job, we submitted a partial payment request, or request number 5, to the EPA for $770,000. I've had a conversation with the EPA this morning, and we're in the process of responding to some questions they had about the tying of the stored materials billed versus the line items of the bid form of the contract, bookkeeping work, and the application of the American Iron and Steel Act. And again, we have exemptions from that. I don't think they do that in Region 7 at Kansas City. We'll work that out. On the abatement order on consent with MDNR, we finally got a fully executed document back from DNR. That issue is now resolved, and as long as we don't pump sewage in the ditch, we're okay. On the meadows, because J.D. Wallace has got about 1,000 feet of 15-inch PVC gravity main in the ground. Farm Road 106 was open, I believe, on Friday. Progress has slowed considerably since the contractor has encountered rock pinnacles, requiring a considerable amount of braking with a hydraulic hammer. And we're looking at alternatives to help speed that up. On the combined financing, we worked with Piper Sanders to secure the certificates of participation for our long-term financing obligations for both 94 project and the Meadows. We had a conference call with Standard & Poor's Bond Rating Services on Thursday. That went pretty good. There's still a couple of pieces of data we need to furnish them, and I'm getting with Gina and we'll get that to them. So other than that, we're making progress. Any questions, be glad to attempt to answer them.
No, sir, thank you.
Okay.
All right, looks like I need to open a public hearing for section 8, and Courtney, you want to read 8 out for me?
Yeah. It's a resolution
resolution of the Willard Planning and Zoning Board approving an ordinance amending section 400.405 agricultural resident district to the municipal code of the city of Willard, Missouri.
All right, so what this is we are falling in line a little bit with the county. This is a zone that is in between agricultural and residential. And basically this allows for some agricultural use on parcels 5 acres or larger. And we're seeing this fall into play a little bit in some of the annexation that we're looking to do. They're already in the county having animals, and this will facilitate not only that, but it gives us a little bit of a bridge where you don't have to have 10 acres for an agricultural use. Part of this, we're trying to fall in line with the county a little bit on this, but we specifically define where the county does not. We specifically define animal uses. Large animals, medium animals, small animals is defined by acreage. So they went through and it was initially 1 dedicated acre of pasture per large animal. They felt that was too small. So the Planning Commission recommended changing that to 2 acres dedicated per large animal, or 2 acres dedicated per 6 medium animals. Small animals were just overall acreage. So if you had 5 acres, you could have 15 ducks or geese, but hogs and pigs are not allowed in these zones. So if you have a, what do they call that? Potbelly pig? No, I was talking, a feelings assist animal or something like that. It cannot be a pig.
Emotional support.
Yes, you cannot have an emotional support pig in this, well, maybe you could. I'm not gonna go there. So, I know. So that's what this is we're trying to fall in line a little bit with the county with some of the zoning to give us kind of a bridge between large tracts of agricultural land and residential. And we feel like this does that. They did have a little bit of concern. We did have a use in there for campgrounds, and they did not deem that as one of their high priorities. They did not want the possibility of an RV park or something like that coming in on a 5 acre piece, so they had that removed from the ordinance before it was recommended. So that's the agricultural resident zone. Questions, comments, concerns especially? Are we doing much enforcement activity on zoning overall? We are not actively patrolling for nuisances.
We're just responding, correct?
Yes, we are responding to concerns, to people that actually come in and file a complaint.
That is about to change though.
Yes.
I already go driving around anyway, so my plan is to keep an eye out, log them, give them to Tammy. So we will be changing it shortly.
But it's still complaint-based, you're initiating that complaint-based. You don't currently have as a priority from the board or as a desire as a whole to do any type of systematic assessments and evaluation of compliance. Most cities, including the very large cities, are all complaint-based. It's enough to keep everyone busy, and there's never enough to keep up. Part of what this ordinance change is looking for is finding that happy medium in the area south of town, that you would have some developments coming in that already meet these requirements. So they can come in by annexation, and they would be considered a legally non-conforming use. So as they come in, what they have is lawful. And so this is kind of a bridge to say, and we don't see anything wrong with that.
Do we have the option to grandfather people in, let's say during Mike's annexation search, there's a hypothetical parcel that we need to get to the next parcel, but their usage does not conform to what we have.
As long
Do we have
as
the
it
ability to
is-
say, okay, this one instance, yes?
You actually don't even have a choice.
Okay.
It, by law, as long as it is legally non-conforming, meaning as it exists in the county,
Right now.
it is legal. When you annex it in, that may continue as long as there's not a substantial change, an abandonment, any of
About
those
change of ownership.
criteria.
What
It
about
doesn't
change-
matter about change of ownership,
So
it's
the-
use.
The clause of grandfathering will stay
Yes,
with the
that's
parcel, not
automatic.
the owner.
Yes, yes.
And
And-
that's one thing we talked about to the property owners is, yeah, I mean, they would be a legal non-conforming use and it would be attached to the property. So,
So, two important aspects of that. One, it has to be legal as it currently is in the county. So if the county prohibits a hog farm, then it would not be legally non-conforming, and when it comes into you, you guys could do that enforcement because it's not legally non-conforming, meaning it was not legal in its prior use, and so you can't retrospectively regulate. And so anything that exists now, especially anything that was already an agricultural resident, met these requirements, but is a different size, anytime you make a change to your text, to your actual code, anything that exists prior to that and is legal, when you create the new, because right now we don't, in our map, have anywhere, right? So
Not currently.
we'll create that, and it probably will be where it already exists in the county in those annexations. But we're in no way taking away a right somebody currently has, and it's the right to the property and the property use. Mike is being very prospective, and in looking at annexation requests, which you guys will be getting some voluntary annexation requests, we are taking an accounting of what they have that exists. So we will have an actual document that says it's legally non-conforming, they have 3 horses on 2 acres. That would not meet your requirements with the agriculture. However, it legally conforms to county regulations, and so as long as they keep 3 horses within season, so like sometimes you can ship them out for breeding or whatever, you still have the ability to keep that 3 horses, and he's recording that for them, so they know, and it would be a document they could pass on to anyone they sold it to or transferred it to.
That was gonna be my next question.
So he's getting that in place, and there are many cities who do not have that, and it is a nightmare.
I bet. I can see where 3 generations from now,
Yep.
someone's trying to do something they shouldn't.
Done the hearings, it's not fun.
I can imagine.
anything else?
All right, can we get a motion?
Actually, you just have to close the hearing, we're just on public hearing. You gotta ask it for the public.
Oh, is there anybody in the public that would like to comment? Steve, you're the only one.
All eyes on Steve.
Oh,
Since I was on the planning and zoning commission and I approved this, I suggest you vote it.
All right, I will close the public portion of the hearing.
You wanna make sure you record his name as the speaker.
Steve Now we get a motion. To approve the resolution. You don't want to approve the resolution?
That's not on here. So the new process you will see is when it goes to the commission will have the proposed ordinance in front of them as it will be presented to you. Then in front of that, they will have a resolution, which you guys have, which says, hey, we really thought about this, we had our own public hearing, and we recommend this particular ordinance. So that's what you have in front of you is that ordinance that they recommended, and that language. And then we will have that on the agenda, I assume, next week.
Yeah, it was,
I mean, in 2 weeks.
it was not in ordinance form this week, so I've made some changes, but we've had the public hearing on it, we can do the reads next meeting.
So it'll be first and second read at next meeting.
Correct.
All righty then. All right, item number 9, appointment to fill vacancy on the park board.
Well, this one's nice and easy. Craig Baird had some family situations come up and he resigned his position on the Parks Board. Parks Board is recommending appointment of Ian Powers to fill his unexpired term. With your approval, we'll get him appointed, and then at probably the next meeting, we're going to revisit all the terms and kind of tidy him up.
Because that will be post-election, you'll adjourn Senate ideas, then you will start a new legislative term, and that's when you will appoint. And we've got it figured out so that you're only appointing a third of the board each time.
That's what should be followed.
And so for this
I need a flow
appointment,
chart.
yeah, it will. The recommendation for appointment comes from it's advised by the Parks Board, it has to come from the mayor.
So I have to say the magic words that I am bringing Ian's last name?
Powers.
Ian Powers forward to fill the unseated term of Craig Baird.
Unexpired term.
Unexpired term of Craig Baird.
Do you want a motion? I'll make a motion when we approve the appointment.
I second.
I have a first, I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So appointed.
So appointed.
All right, item number 10A. When you get done, Corey, do you want to read it?
Yes. An ordinance adding section 400.991 administrative subdivision to the municipal code of the city of Willard, Missouri.
So this has been a nice learning curve for me on procedure in regards to ordinances. So that's why you have an ordinance in front of you that's a little bit different than what was submitted, because procedurally it needed to be changed just a little bit. So when we approve the ordinance, the code is actually adopted instead of just a blank piece of paper. So what the administrative subdivision is an addition that allows the Planning and Development Director in conjunction with legal counsel to approve different minor land adjustments without board approval. So we're talking lot line adjustments, we're talking minor subdivisions with no infrastructure or roads. And what this ordinance does is it defines those aspects to those minor land adjustments of what we can do administratively without burdening the board with something. One of the caveats to this is, usually you're dealing with large plots of land, stuff like that. We're only allowing that to happen once. So if they decide to pull the trigger and divide their 100 acres into 5 parcels, any division after that would be regarded as a regular subdivision and would have to go through due process. So basically this is just aligning us with the cities surrounding us also. They all have administrative subdivision ordinances in place that allows for limited administrative approvals. So.
And it's for tweaks. Think in terms of it's just to do a tweak. You shouldn't have to go through the expense of the publication. It's just little, and that's what they always come and say to your planning department. Oh, it's just a little move, or I just need to move it over because I built my fence too far, or I need that to meet my setbacks. So these are tweaks. It can't be any essential change that would have great effects. So it's in no way taking away your governing ability or your legislative ability.
And another thing I want to add is in no way will one of these
amendments create a non-conforming use. So I would not be able to approve something that was conforming at the time and then became non-conforming due to my approval. It has to follow my code, so it will have to follow the minimum requirements to be approved.
Which he's making a veiled reference to some entities use that to create a variance because the developer doesn't want to follow your code. This is not an end run around that. It is truly for tweaks, so it in no way gives them a power that you don't even have.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first, I have a second. Alder Villiers?
Yes.
Alder Hill?
You can do an all in.
Oh, I can
Because
on
it's
this one?
first read.
Oh, first read. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Make a motion to go ahead and do a second read for tonight.
Second.
I have a first, I have a second. Do I go through just all in favor? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm gonna read it again. An ordinance adding section 400.991 administrative subdivision to the municipal code of the city of Willard, Missouri.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first, I have a second. And here I need to read them all. Alder Villiers?
Yes.
Alder Hill?
Yes.
Alder Key?
Yes.
Alder Lancaster?
Yes.
And Alder Matheson?
Yes.
The ordinance is passed.
On a side note, Mike, you following what's going on in Stone County with their planning and zoning?
No, it might be.
Just Google it and they're actually having a vote to get rid of their P&Z department altogether. No codes.
So when you go to Stone County and you look at the docket, half or more of the docket is planning and zoning cases. I've been in many counties. I've never been to a county where it was even once on the docket, let alone half of the dockets. It's very unusual. They don't approve anything, if I recall correctly, and so everything gets appealed. And they do have a lot of unincorporated areas. So even what gets through the system, we'll just say it's surprising.
It's just entertaining.
I count my blessings every day for the boards I do have.
Go down there and sit to those stuff.
Well, I did show a house there one time long ago, I'll make it quick, that had a secondary ADU, as we were to find it, and its water source was a garden hose runner from the main house into the guest house that they were marketing as a guest house, but the hose line was buried mostly, so you didn't know that was the water source.
Hopefully it was 1 inch.
That's what happens whenever you don't have a zoning.
That sounds pretty legit.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't have policies dictating that kind of thing.
Trevor's over there just cringing.
That's better than what we got.
Hose from Walmart.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe
That's
it's
the
a
union
low.
won't fail.
Yeah, something nice, okay,
It's not there.
And then we won't get into some of the wiring I've seen
Pressure
down there.
joint to rock.
Yeah.
All right, number 11, city administrator remarks.
Hey, for once, we could skip that one.
All right,
Done
new business. It's like 12 Alpha is a trash service bid.
it. Gina,
Gina.
That would be me.
Joy.
Okay, so we've done the trash bids a million times. I'm losing my voice, but
Could you speak up?
yeah. Let me try to do that.
Can I get some clarity there?
No. Yeah. Republic Services, we paid $21,975 for 2025. We have, in your package, you have the GFL bid, you have the B&H bid, and then you have Republic Services for 24-25. GFL came in with a bid of $15,180 for the year. This is trash and recycling combined. B&H came out with $5,268, but that is trash only. With GFL having their recycling, I made them bid it separate like you guys asked me to, so that if we, whatever part we wanted to take, we could. If we do recycling with GFL and B&H Trash Services, The total is still $15,948. I did a scoring sheet where I scored everybody and GFL had the best price, the lowest price, the more convenient price. So as a city, I'm thinking we need to go with GFNL, but it's up to you guys. So I can answer any questions you have, or as
It's
long as
up
my
to
voice
you,
is.
as long as you consider all of the factors that are appropriate and relevant for determining lowest and best. So she's recommending lowest and best is the one that actually is the lowest. But if you want to make other recommendations, it has to be in those considerations as to why another is best. Is GFL the gentleman who came in and presented?
That
Yeah,
was
it's
B&H.
That was B&H.
So that's my question. If B&H trash and GFL recycling together is the same price as GFL?
No, GFL is $5,180, and for B&H and GFL for the recycling, it's $15,948.
I thought you had said that you had the
What's GFL combined?
GFL combined is $15,180
Okay.
for the year.
Did you have it broken out where we could just do recycling with GFL?
I did. That's what you guys asked for.
Okay, so what was B&H?
B&H is $5,268 for the year.
GFL recycle only.
$10,680.
So it's a difference of about $120, right?
I have.
It's about $600 difference.
I didn't get one of them written down. But the benefit that we get with B&H of all of the extra things that he does for the community, that I don't know that we will get with GFL.
So I did have them put on their bids, special event pricing down at the bottom. B&H charges us just what it takes him to dump it at the site.
Right.
So we don't know, like, I don't know exactly how much it costs him to dump every time. But I did have everybody go through and put on their special event pricing. And if he's still willing to, he could still do that kind of stuff for the community too. But that's why I had them bid it all separate so that we could come up with the best solution.
In the bid, did you put what factors would be considered? And is the fact that it's a local entity a factor to be considered as part of the bid award?
It was a factor. Yes, local was a factor. So was price, so was having combined services. So GFL got extra points for having both services, where B&H got extra points for being local.
And they kind of balanced out. And then it was the bottom line.
Yep, there is a scoring sheet in there that has the scoring.
So how much is GFL going to cost for Casey's Festival?
Casey Fest, I haven't heard of this one.
For Casey
Is this
Fest.
what it's been?
There actually is a KC Fest.
So she put on here, it's on this page, but the roll-offs are $55 time disposal, $225 round trip. Poly carts, she said no charge for the first 15 poly carts. So it depends on what you do. Like if it's the community cleanup and we need the big dumpsters, they're gonna be more. If it's gonna be Freedom Fest and we just have 15 carts, then she said no charge for the first 15 carts.
And, I mean, B&H says that they provide 15 carts and 2 to 3 dumpsters, and that they don't pay any, whereas if GFL has dumpsters, it's $225 a piece, so.
He says he told us that he charges us what the dump cost. So
on Freedom Fest, he says on here, I will provide 10 to 15 carts and 2 to 3 dumpsters at no cost and will pay for dump fees. So Freedom Fest, he's doing that free gratis. So if you add Freedom, or Casey Fest, however you want to call it. If you add Freedom Fest to the GFL, we're pretty close in total expenditure, if I understand correctly. Because if I add 225 times 3, then GFL's price just went up a little bit. Is that right? Am I looking at it right? Don't know.
I think you're the only one doing the numbers, so we're all just not
Okay,
with
so
your
the way I
numbers.
analyze this,
What she's saying though.
so the way I analyze this, I mean, if B&H is a local provider and they are giving us Freedom Fest completely free, then you have to consider that that's an expenditure that you're gonna pick up with GFL. Which, if it's at $225 plus a $55 drop for each dumpster, we're looking at $775 plus maybe another $100. We're looking at almost another $1,000, and we've lost our local guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I could see, like Casey's saying, can we split, and we still are gonna save a little bit of money?
And we're keeping our business local, which I think is always a good thing. If we can do that and not shoot ourselves in the foot, I think that we can always keep our business here.
Meaning B&H.
B&H.
or
B&H for
trash.
trash, no, well, B&H for
He
trash
doesn't
and
do
GFL for
He doesn't do
recycle.
Yeah.
And so the way you've calculated it, which includes that aspect of it, that financial aspect, you're arguing that it is a cheaper option, so it is a lowest and best.
If you split, it would be lowest and best because I'm going to incur another close to $1,000 with GFL.
Realistic.
Plus with GFL only hitting us for it at cost, you don't know what the cost is. I mean, that's
Yeah, I mean, like I say,
20 to
if
50, but that's per ton.
I do not go to Freedom Fest, I don't know how many dumpsters are there, I don't know how
That's
many.
what I was, do we have an estimate of how many, does he provide 15? Do we use
We probably had to involve
25?
Emily or
And
Brandon.
I mean,
Brenda asked me trash questions.
Yeah, I don't think they get tons of these things, it's probably within the 15.
Okay.
yeah,
I
I
don't
know
think we
that's the
have-
number one complaint about
I don't think we have
festivals.
dumpsters,
Yeah.
because
It's
we have the
number one
dumpster
complaint.
right here that they use. I don't think they get a special dumpster for that.
Okay.
Could be wrong, but I don't think they
I mean, that's what he says in his proposal, is that he
Right.
provides 10 to 15 carts and 2 to 3 dumpsters at no cost, and he pays for all dump fees. If that is the case, then, I mean, he's doing $1,000 thing for the city if we're comparing apples to apples on dollars there.
So what she's suggesting is the score sheet needs to be changed to reflect that amount. And with that, they're inclined to see that, and so you're gonna have to make sure that we are creating a very good documentation of that
Would this
award.
be enough to proceed with getting contracts for next time, or do we need to come back and revisit this again?
As long as those numbers pan out when you write them down,
Okay.
and they're saying that would then be the lowest and best, and it meets the scorecard, then yes, that would be sufficient, because it sounds like they're all accepting these numbers
Kind of what I'm getting.
as expressed, and so then they can begin, because it would be lowest and best with the recalculation, then they can begin negotiation with the contract and bring that back to you at the next meeting.
Okay, we'll get it. Thank you.
All right, any unfinished business?
Can I just say, what an amazing meeting. You guys have no idea. I go to a lot of different meetings, been to a lot of very sophisticated and very rough meetings, but I'm just amazed, completely amazed at the opportunities you give to the children to come to present, to be grown-ups and start their careers, of the opportunities for your directors and your employees to present to you and show how amazing they are and how much they care about their work. your reception of them and treatment of them is phenomenal. You don't see that. You just don't see that. So thank you.
Holly, you don't get a bonus. Next meeting, if someone is trying to bonus for Holly.
She got a bonus, she has an actual nameplate now.
Yeah, that's true.
She had that, I found that in the cupboard.
Somebody put Holly in the cupboard?
That was the
I know,
one.
they found it out, oh, Holly doesn't have this trashy thing.
The whole experience. That was like, that was
No,
not
I think it's
pleasant.
fine, I totally get what you're
That was
saying.
nothing like what it was.
I think it was.
No, the master essentially makes it mine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Drew.
So they have a-
Well,
Oh, yeah, here we go.
we present.
Dave,
the best.
item
So you
14.
can tweak what, that's.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Jeremy's got it on the pallet.
First you have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chuck.